Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, issued a stark warning to the United States, stating that Iran is fully prepared to respond to any future American military aggression by targeting U.S. military bases throughout the Middle East. This was Khamenei's first public statement since a ceasefire was reached between Iran and Israel following a period of intense regional conflict. In his televised remarks, the 86-year-old leader referred to a recent Iranian missile strike that targeted a major U.S. military installation in Qatar. According to Khamenei, this action was a direct retaliation for American involvement in supporting Israeli airstrikes during the conflict. He described the attack as a hard slap to the face of America, emphasizing that it demonstrated Iran's willingness and ability to directly challenge U.S. forces in the region. Khamenei went on to highlight the strategic significance of the strike, noting that it was aimed at one of Washington's most critical military hubs in the Middle East. He suggested that this was not an isolated event but rather a display of a new phase in Iran's defense posture, one that includes the capacity to target vital U.S. assets at will. The fact that the Islamic Republic has access to important American centers in the region and can strike them whenever it deems necessary is no small matter, he said. It represents a major shift in the balance of power. This type of operation is not just symbolic, it's a real capability, and it's one that we are prepared to use again if the situation calls for it. Khamenei's comments were broadcast on Iranian state television on Thursday, June 26, in a pre-recorded message. As with his earlier statements during the 12-day Israeli bombardment of Iran, he delivered the speech from an undisclosed indoor location. The setting was modest and consistent with past addresses. Khamenei stood before a plain brown curtain, flanked by the Iranian national flag on one side and a portrait of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the founder of the Islamic Republic, on the other. His statement was widely seen as both a message of defiance and a warning. It underscores Iran's readiness to escalate militarily if provoked, particularly in response to perceived U.S. threats or interventions in the region. Meanwhile, on the same day, U.S. President Donald Trump responded to questions about the possibility of renewed American military action against Iran. When asked whether the U.S. would consider striking Iran again if it resumed its nuclear enrichment program, an issue that remains a major point of contention, Trump replied with a terse, "Sure," indicating that military options remain on the table. This exchange of threats reflects the ongoing tension between the two nations, with each side signaling a willingness to engage in further confrontation if their strategic interests are challenged. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei issued a strong warning on Thursday, June 26, stating that any future military aggression against Iran would carry serious consequences for those who initiate it. This marked his first televised statement since a ceasefire was established between Iran and Israel, following a period of escalating hostilities in the region. In his pre-recorded speech, which aired on Iranian state television, Khamenei made it clear that Iran would not tolerate further attacks without retaliation. Speaking from an undisclosed indoor location, his setting mirrored that of previous addresses, with a plain brown curtain behind him, flanked by the Iranian national flag on one side and a portrait of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the founder of the Islamic Republic, on the other. Khamenei addressed recent strikes targeting Iran's nuclear infrastructure, which he asserted were not only unlawful but also largely ineffective. "They attacked our nuclear facilities," he said, referring to recent coordinated actions by foreign powers, which is, of course, a matter that could be pursued legally through international courts. But despite their efforts, they failed to cause any significant damage. The Supreme Leader's remarks were intended to project resilience and confidence in Iran's defensive capabilities, while also framing Iran as a victim of unjustified aggression, particularly in the context of international law. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump gave a brief but pointed response when asked on June 25 whether the United States would consider launching another strike if Iran resumed its nuclear enrichment program. "Sure," Trump replied, signaling that Washington remains open to military action if it believes Iran is moving toward the development of nuclear weapons. The exchange reflects the fragile and volatile state of U.S.-Iran relations, with both nations issuing clear signals that further escalation remains a possibility. Khamenei's warning serves both as a message of deterrence to Iran's adversaries and as a reassurance to the Iranian public of the country's preparedness to defend itself.